Now, to help us better understand the implications of this development, let's talk to a constitutional law book author, Attorney Jennifer Arlene Reyes, joining us today via Zoom. Good morning, Attorney, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Angela and Angelo. Thank you for inviting me again to your show.
Right. So, what do you make of the session yesterday at the Senate, convening as an impeachment court a day before the scheduled, supposedly today, and of course, remanding the impeachment case
Returning.
remanding the impeachment case to the lower house? Is this even constitutional?
Well, in my humble opinion, first, the delay. It is unconstitutional already. The delay they made since February. Now, their act of remanding or returning the said impeachment complaint or articles of impeachment to the House of Representatives, that is also not found under our 1987 Constitution. To clarify, if I may be allowed to elaborate on the matter,
Sure.
Under Article 11 of our Constitution, the whole article governs the rules on impeachment, and it does not mention anything about remanding.
Right.
The salient points of the said article, Article 11, only talks about the power of the House of Representatives to have the exclusive power to initiate all cases of impeachment, and on the other hand, the Senate to be the sole judge of all impeachment
Right.
cases and to try and decide such impeachment.
Attorney, initially, Senator Bato de la Rosa asked for a dismissal of the impeachment complaint, and to make it more acceptable, Senator Cayetano, being the good lawyer that he is, reworded and amended the initial motion of Senator Bato to say that he was recommending the returning without dismissal. Why would the Duterte camp want to return or make it, why would it be acceptable for them to return the articles of impeachment to Congress instead of pursuing a dismissal?
Okay. First off, with respect to Senator Bato's move or motion to dismiss the said impeachment case, that is also unconstitutional in my humble legal opinion, because if you are a senator in an impeachment court, you are a judge. And a judge cannot move to dismiss a case or a complaint in favor of the accused. It is only VP Sara or her team who or which can file or move the said dismissal of the said complaint. In essence, Senator Bato is lawyering for the Vice President. And that should not be the case, because as an impeachment judge, he must have the cold neutrality of a judge. He took an oath that he will be politically neutral. With respect to Senator Cayetano's suggestion to remand the said case, which the Senate already did last night, they stated two reasons, right? Why they want to remand the said impeachment case back to the House of Representatives. They say that they want the House of Representatives to certify that they did not violate the Constitution. It is illogical. It is absurd, for lack of a better term. It is pointless, in my humble legal opinion, since the House of Representatives is a co-equal body, and you want the House of Representatives, you are ordering a co-equal body to check its own action. You want
Right.
them to check if their complaint or their action is valid. That should not be the case.
Yes.
The correctness or the sufficiency of the complaint, if it is baseless or not, it must be discussed during trial,
Yeah,
which
right.
the
exactly.
must do.
Right, right.
But,
Saka sino ba naman yung
Oo.
bibigyan mo ng, ibabalik mo sa kanya and you will ask them kung legal ba yung ginawa niyo? Of course.
I'd like to ask-
Sasabihin nila, hindi legal yung gagawin namin.
So two contentions kasi dyan, attorney, no? Exactly the mere fact that it was transmitted, that means it's a verified impeachment complaint. So therefore, it is valid. Now, the other point of contention was they were saying, well, we need to certify that you're going to push through and you want to push through with the 20th Congress. So why will they return the impeachment complaint now to the 19th Congress if they're looking for a response from the 20th Congress?
Exactly. That is why I find it pointless and I find it a waste of taxpayers' money, because the House of Representatives has already decided that they were sure of filing the said impeachment complaint, and they actually did since February. So what's the point of conducting a survey from the 20th Congress?
That's right,
so it is an utter waste of time, in my humble legal opinion.
Before I turn it over to Angel, I'd just like to understand from the perspective of the Duterte camp, how does this benefit them instead of just looking for a vote to dismiss? How does this buy time for them?
Yeah, because even Senator Bato de la Rosa have said that remanding this impeachment case to the House of Representatives is a victory for them.
Well, in its legal sense, that could be true, meaning the Vice President and her counsels or team can have more time to study the charges against her, the grounds for the impeachment against her. That is, in a legal sense, a victory for her team. But of course, nothing is set in stone, right? That is why it is quite significant to have a trial already by the Senate without further and, should I say, undue delay. So as to, for VP Sara to vindicate herself if she did not do anything wrong, and on the other hand, if the prosecution proves that she really violated the provisions of the Constitution and the laws, which merits her removal from office, then so be it. And so the country will know the truth.
So having said that, do you believe that the trial is in limbo at the moment?
It is. It has been in limbo since February. The Constitution is clear. Our highest law of the land is clear. Trial by the Senate shall forthwith proceed. However, we've been waiting for 4 months, but now when they convened last night, they still decided to remand the said case to the House of Representatives, which is, again, it will cause further delay.
What can the House do now?
Yeah.
There's a question that what if the House takes on the challenge of the Senate and they immediately certify it in a few days and return it back and ask for expediency? What can happen?
Actually, that's a good question, Angelo. Whether the House of Representatives certifies it as soon as possible, then of course the Senate has the obligation to now proceed with the trial. On the other hand, if the House of Representatives do not certify, because it is a co-equal body, the Senate cannot order it to do something, and vice versa. The Senate also has the obligation to proceed with the trial, even if the House of Representatives, or in the event that the House of Representatives will not certify the said case.
Okay, so as clearly as you said also that the Constitution is clear that the Senate's role is to try and decide, not to supervise the House of Representatives. Do you see this also, filing of, do you see this also na ifa-file sa Supreme Court o itatry ito sa Supreme Court itong precedent na ito?
That can be done since, of course, the Supreme Court, as the last bulwark of justice and democracy, has the power to check whether or not there has been grave abuse of discretion as to any branch or as to any department of the government. So they may file the proper petitions before the Supreme Court if they really want this to proceed. And, nagiging ping-pong kasi yung nangyayari, di ba? Nagtuturuan or nagpapasahan lamang. So I believe that is one of the best remedies, to file a petition before the Supreme Court.
Now let's talk about the 20th Congress crossover. On the side of the House of Representatives, unofficially they have expressed intent to pursue the impeachment complaint and to go to trial. Now, as the Senate, they said, Senate President Chis Escudero has said that he cannot compel, he cannot even guarantee that the new set of senators would want to continue to trial.
It is them for the
Now,
decide.
if this happens, that the House wants to push through, but the Senate, given its numbers and compositions, 20th Congress, will not want to push through. Do you see a crisis happening?
If you mean that they do not want to push through by not conducting a trial,
Yes.
that cannot be done.
Okay.
They
Constitutionally.
must try and decide the impeachment case. So they do not have any choice. The 20th Congress, if the impeachment case will be carried over to it, it has no choice. It is constitutionally mandated to continue the impeachment case.
All right, so what's going to happen right now? Can you enlighten us to the possible or the options of the House of Representatives after this?
Well, just like what I mentioned a while ago, the House of Representatives has the authority, well, if it wants to, but in my humble legal opinion, it can validly refuse the order to certify. But it has two options. First, okay, certify the said impeachment case and assure them that they still want to pursue or continue with the impeachment trial. Then the Senate has no excuse but to proceed immediately with trial. Conversely, if the House of Representatives does not want to certify, again, the Senate still has the obligation to proceed with the trial. That is why it is pointless. The action of the Senate last night is, well, for lack of a better term, in my humble legal opinion, it is pointless and illogical.
Well, Attorney, the way I see it, the Senate, well, most of them have disregarded certain rules and provisions of the Constitution. At the end of the day, we know this is going to the Supreme Court. What issues do you think will be tackled in the Supreme Court? Is it the issue of crossovers, or whether or not the 20th Congress is mandated to take up the impeachment complaint or not?
Well, all of those issues, especially if explicit constitutional provisions like this one. The Senate has the constitutional duty to try and decide all cases of impeachment. So if this will be violated, the Supreme Court can rule on that issue. Also, regarding this action of remanding the case, the impeachment case, back to the House of Representatives, since, in my humble opinion, it is not constitutional, then of course the Supreme Court also has the authority to nullify the said action and even declare it as void or unconstitutional.
Well, with all that we've talked about, Attorney, what is your fearless forecast in the next 10 to 15 days? Just a forecast. Things can go left or right or center. What do you think?
Well, I'm quite optimistic that the impeachment trial should proceed, because if not, then taong bayan ang talo eh.
Right.
Kasi ang saligang batas ang nag-uutos. Kapag hindi ito sinunod, it will be a dangerous precedent.
Right.
Our highest officials, all public officials, must comply with the Constitution, because the Constitution is the Filipino people, and sovereignty resides in the Filipinos and not to certain public officials.
Definitely, we'll keep an eye on this issue
Yeah.
and we'll continue to get in touch with you on your insights. For the meantime, maraming salamat sa iyong oras, constitutional law book author, Attorney Jennifer Arlene Reyes. Thank you so much.